everybody. Today I'm going to review RIDGID's brand new 1650RV, motor on the bottom, wet dry vacuum cleaner. Now, unlike a standard RIDGID vacuum cleaner that you might see in the store at the Home Depot that has the orange and black color scheme, this type is actually part of their professional series and it's only going to be sold at exclusive RIDGID dealers. Now, they did build in some really unique features with this vacuum that you haven't seen on previous RIDGID vacuums or wet dry vacuums. And the biggest is going to be the fact that the motor is on the bottom. So this top section is going to be the storage tank. The motor is going to be on the bottom at all times. So unlike a standard vacuum cleaner where you would unlatch the latches, pull the actual motor housing off the top and then have to set it in the dirt, in the mud, or maybe even in some water, this is going to stay stationary. You're going to pull the tank off the top and empty that. Now, they did build in some other features like a very heavy-duty professional hose, a 20-foot long power cord, and then they have built in some storage for the accessories on board. Now, what I want to do in this video is really go over all of those different features, and then we're going to see how it actually performs. Now, to take a closer look at the vacuum, I want to start at the bottom and work my way up. On the front, you can see that there are two small wheels. Those are going to be swivel casters. And then on the rear is going to be very large wheels that are going to be stationary. So you can steer this by the handle on the top. You can move it back and forth. And then because it does have those very large rear wheels, you can go over obstacles or up and down stairs very easily and it's not going to tip over on you. On the side of it is the drain plug. So if you are using this to vacuum up, let's say, water in the basement, this is how you're going to drain the water out. You don't physically have to take the tank off to empty it out. Now, also on the front are two different red switches. One is a lever that's going to go left or right. That's going to unlock the tank so you can remove it and then empty out debris inside. And then on the bottom is the power switch. So this large red switch right here, if you press that down once, it's going to turn it on. If you press it down again, it's going to turn it right back off. Now, on the front, it is really nice because the hose is not the little cheap flimsy hose that I'm used to on wet dry vacs. This is really a crush-proof professional hose, and it's a big upgrade over the ones that you're probably already using. Now, it does remove and install very easily, and you can see it's going to slide right in place, and it's going to click in there, so it's not going to accidentally pop out on you. Now, I will say when you're using this, if you do happen to get some kind of a jam, let's say you suck up some leaves and they jam up the end of the hose, you can take the other end of the hose that does have the jam in it, and you're not going to have to bang it out of there and then break the plastic. All you'll need to do is just take the end with the clog, stick it right in that hole, and it's going to suck out everything that's clogging it up, and then you can put the correct end back in place and continue vacuuming. Now, I'm going to go ahead and set this out of the way because I do want to show you the other features that they have built into it. And on the top of it, they do have storage for the two large nozzles. And then on the rear of it, we have a storage place for four different things. The two extension nozzles, one's going to go on either side. And then all the way on the back, there's also this little mesh screen. Now, this is flexible, and that's storage for the larger units for the more precision work. And, you know, typically this is the size I'll use because you get the maximum amount of airflow as well as suction. And then they have a little angled one in there also. So this is what comes with the unit. Now, you can add on an accessory kit that I'm going to show you next. That's going to be an Automotive accessory kit. And that's pretty cool because it's actually going to have another crush-proof hose. It's going to connect directly to this one, and it's going to come with a lot of automotive attachments. So don't worry about vacuuming out your vehicle. Let's say you own a detailing business with this very large nozzle. If you just pick up the auto detailing kit, you're going to be able to greatly expand the uses with this vacuum. Now, let's say you're doing some major cleanup and you're dealing with things that won't fit in the hose. They even have an access port here on the top. You can fold that right up, and it gives you a direct line of sight into the tank that you can put a large piece of wood or maybe some trash. You can shut that back up and continue vacuuming. Now, when it's time to empty this out, it's extremely simple because that lever on the front here that's going to slide left to right will just slide that, and now the entire tank assembly along with the handle is going to lift off of there. So you can see I can grab it by the handle, I can just tilt it back, and it's going to lift right off the motor. So at this point, I can go and empty this, and you can see the motor is going to be on the bottom, literally. So all the weight is going to be on the bottom, and that is why it's so stable. Now, to open this up, they do have two latches, one here and one here. We can just pop those right up. The entire lid at this point is going to come right off, and now you can empty it out and clean the filter. When you get done, just put it back in place, put the two latches on, and then we're just going to set it right back on top of the motor. Now there is a little tab on the back of here that you do need to line up with the back of the actual unit. That's going to line up, click in place, then you'll just take this tab on the front above the power switch, slide it back over into the lock position, and now it's back as one unit. Now if you're going to use this to detail your own car, maybe you have an auto detailing business, I would highly suggest you picking up one of the auto detailing kits. Now these can be found in the store at the Home Depot, and they're roughly about $40. Now originally I thought that seemed kind of high until I actually opened it up and realized that they give you an additional 10-foot long professional grade crush-proof hose that is going to attach in the vacuum exactly the same way as the other hose. This is going to be a narrower diameter, and that means that you're going to get more suction and more airflow through this. Now, the other nice thing about this hose, it is 10 feet long, and it will actually attach in to the standard professional grade gray hose that does already come with the unit. So that's really going to give you an extremely long hose to work with. Let's say you want to put that behind the vehicle and vacuum the whole thing out. You're going to have enough hose to do that. You're not going to have to constantly move the vacuum around the entire time. Now, along with the 10-foot crush-proof hose, they do have two different adapters as far as brushes go for getting your carpets clean. A very narrow little nozzle tool with a rubber overmold around it, so you're not going to scratch up the interior of a customer's vehicle, and you're going to be able to get beside the seats or down inside the cushions very easily with this and suck out all that dirt and debris. They have a larger cleanup nozzle for, let's say, spilled food or French fries, and then they even have two additional adapters. Now, this one is actually what you're going to need to connect the two hoses together, and then this one is what you would use if you were dealing with a smaller size hose. So all you're going to need to do is bring the vacuum outside, run an extension cord out to it, and then connect the two hoses together. Because it creates one very long hose, you can probably leave the vacuum in one location and clean or detail an entire vehicle without it ever moving. Now, as far as shop cleanup goes, which many people are also going to be using this for, let's go ahead and clean up all this sawdust and wood shavings, see what type of performance it's going to give you. Now the other main function of a wet dry vac, of course, is to vacuum up water. And let's say we wanted to replace this sump pump at the bottom of the crock in the basement. Maybe it quit working and we need to go ahead and clean this up to install a new one. This is how we would evacuate all that water rather than deal with this like it sits. Now many times when a sump pump breaks, of course, this is going to completely fill up and overflow into the basement. But this is just an example to show you how quickly we can suck up all that water. Now before I do this, I do want to put on one of the foam wet-only filters. That way the other dirt and debris that's down in the bottom of that is not going to suck into the motor. Now this is extremely easy to do. All we need to do is unlatch the lid on the top of the vacuum cleaner, take it off of there, then we're going to grab the current filter, which is going to be the dry filter, just pull up on it, it's going to pop right out of place, set that to the side, take your foam filter, slide it over, press it down, it's going to be latched right into place, and now we're ready to suck this water out. So all I need to do at this point, reinstall the lid, put the two latches down, grab the end of the hose and turn it on. It completely cleaned all the water out of that. We can now pull the sump pump out, replace it, and then hook everything back up. And now when we're ready to drain all the water out of the tank, we can either pour it back in here after we replace the sump pump or remove it outside. Now the easiest way to do this, of course, is to just remove this plug. All the water is going to shoot out of here, and it's going to drain the tank very quickly. So now you've seen RIDGID's brand new 1650RV, motor on the bottom, wet dry vac. And like I did say at the beginning of the video, this is part of the professional series available exclusively at RIDGID dealers. And it's not going to be able to be found in the store or online at the Home Depot. Now I can tell you without a doubt that I've used this over the last month, easily put in over 5 or 6 hours of continuous use with it, and I have not had any problems with it falling over, jamming up, or tripping breakers. Now I will say the only problems that I have had is the fact that with loose nails, when it's just an individual nail, not let's say in a pile of dirt and debris, but just a loose nail, sometimes it'll just be banging around inside of the nozzle and it doesn't want to suck all the way down through the hose unless I tilt the nozzle back. Now that's very standard with any wet dry vac, but that's really the only problem that I've had on a consistent basis. Now the other thing was I tried to suck up a bunch of leaves. They actually got jammed in here whenever you take the actual hose off and it goes into the housing. All I had to do was just reach in with my hand, push the leaves through, and then it cleared the jam. So it's very easy to clear jams with this, and you don't have the consistent problems like you would with a standard shop-vac. Now the other real nice thing is how easy it is to empty the tank out, whether you're sucking up water or you just want to remove it to empty out all the dirt inside. They do have real nice quality nozzles as well as that professional grade hose included, and it is able to store everything on board, and you can roll it around with this handle when you don't want to use it. And because this is a RIDGID vacuum cleaner, it is going to be covered by the lifetime service agreement. So as long as you do register it when you buy it, you are going to be covered with free parts and service for life. If you like this video, please click like. If you like my channel, please click subscribe. And thanks for watching.